can see this when we see the head of the task force that's responsible for these investigations saying that this is about ideological viewpoint balancing at these universities. We can see it when we see the Vice President of the United States say that universities and their professors are the enemy. This is not about anti-Semitism. This is about an effort to try to break the backs of American universities until they start saying what the administration wants to hear. Because the administration knows that universities are a central component of a free and open constitutional democracy. The Trump administration's demand letter that was made public today and sent to Harvard on Friday asks for things that have nothing to do with anti-Semitism. It requires us to try to change who is hired, what we teach in our classrooms, what we say in our research. It says that it is trying to create ideological rebalancing. That's code, and actually not even code. It's pretty transparent. That is a message that's saying, we don't like what you're teaching. We want you to teach something more to our liking, and unless you do that, we're going to try to bankrupt your institution.
We'll be following it closely. Andrew Manuel Crespo, thank you for joining us tonight for an interview.
Schools that persist in explicit, unlawful discrimination under the guise of equity will not only have their endowments taxed, but through budget reconciliation, I will advance a measure to have them fined up to the entire amount of their endowment.
I think if any of us want to do the things that we want to do for our country and for the people who live in it, we have to honestly and aggressively attack the universities in this country.
Joining the group chat today, Phil Mattingly, CNN anchor and chief domestic correspondent, Gabby Birnbaum, Washington correspondent for the Nevada Independent, and Kevin Fry, Washington correspondent for Spectrum News, New York 1. Everybody, I want to just start with what the president is trying to do, because in that old clip we played, he talked about taxing endowments, which is not what he's doing, right? He's specifically saying, here's a list of demands, comply, or I'm going after your federal funding. So sort of who in the administration is pushing this? What can you tell us about the thinking?
Yeah, I mean, why slog through a legislative process that you don't know how it's going to end when you can just do it yourself? And I think this is so people cannot view what's happening here in isolation, right? We've been talking about this for the last several months, where the agility and kind of relentless nature with which the Trump administration and top senior advisors who have been planning for this for several years have really, to your point, initially bent institutions that never saw this coming, even though Trump talked about it on the campaign trail, to their will, has been something that people are just starting to kind of get their head around. And Harvard being the first school to say no is a fascinating moment to see whether this is the start of a tipping point.
And if there's any school that can do it, it's Harvard. It has a massive endowment. But meanwhile, Columbia faced a similar predicament, quickly caved.